what's up? In this video, I want to talk about how you can use your MIDI pedal to switch between 3 presets on your guitar and only take up 1 button on your MIDI pedals. And this is really handy if you've got a MIDI pedal such as the M-Wave Chocolate, where you've got 4 buttons and you want to use only 1 for your guitar tone, or you want to use 1 button to do 3 different things. So here's the secret. I'll just throw it out there, and if that's enough for you, great. You don't have to watch. By the way, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to The Gurge. I really appreciate it. All right, so here's the secret. You want to use the on, the hold, and the double tap actions of your MIDI pedal. In other words, an on is just 1 tap, double tap, obviously 2 taps in rapid succession, and a hold is you press down and hold the button. Now, let me jump out and say the way I'm going to show you to do this is using a widget. You don't have to use a widget. You could do this just by programming it directly into your control profile. I'm going to show you using a widget. So here's the deal with the pedal situation. You also don't want to use your hold and your double tap if you're going to be doing things that are timed actions where you don't want the single tap to go. And I'm going to show you how to adjust that and kind of explain along the way. So let's get our template set up. I've got the default template loaded. I'm using a mouse pointer here. I got to lean over because I got my keyboard here, so it might look a little awkward. But I want to just get my template set up. I'm going to go to the mixer, and I'm going to change the hardware input from the microphone. I'm just going to replace that. Go to hardware input and go to input number 8, which is my guitar. And let's see, we should be getting some guitar. Okay, so not great tone because we don't have any kind of processor on there. So let's go ahead and add an effect, and I'm going to use ToneX for that. And ToneX is going to load as an AUV3, which is right there. Okay. All right, so I'm not crazy about that tone model. So let me maximize this. So what I did is I set up a bunch of presets in the AUV3, and these are the 3 that I'm going to switch between. One's going to be the twin, which is kind of my go-to clean. EJ, so a little saturated. And then I like this ODS Tasty Boost as well. It's a pretty cool tone. So I'm going to switch between those 3. And I set those up as AUV3 presets to make it easier to switch between. I'm not messing around with MIDI or anything like that. I'm just using the presets in the folder there, set up ToneX the way I want, and then click on the folder, click New, and save that. So let's go back. Let's close this up. And we're going to close up the mixer and go into the canvas editor. I'm going to delete everything except for 1 clip. And I'm going to add, I'll use the mouse pointer so you can see where this is actually. I'm going to click on that and add radio buttons. Now, radio buttons are great for this. So is this control here. This is the stepped dial. I'm not going to use that. I just wanted to show it to you. They work in a very similar way. Notice that they have an item source property, which makes it real easy to populate the settings on this. So I'm going to actually delete that one. And let's look at radio buttons. Okay, I'm going to click on item source, and the first item in the list, select effect preset. So remember, we loaded ToneX as an effect. I'm going to click that, then I'm going to select target, and I'm going to select ToneX. And notice the list says all presets. Now I had a bunch of presets in there. I don't want all of them. I only want 3 of them. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click select none. I'm going to go down to twin, ODS Tasty Boost, and the EJ. And you'll see over on the left, kind of shaded there, that the radio buttons are configuring themselves to only have 3 buttons there. So there's a reason I like to use a widget for this and not program it directly, and that you can always just tap on these on the screen and change the preset. So I'm going to make these a little smaller so they look kind of like buttons. There we go. And now right away I can just click those. Get my twin preset, click on EJ, and the Tasty Boost. Now you can use this method for anything that, any effect that has a select, you can select presets in the AUV3. It works great. I'm just showing you for guitar. I just want to point that out. You can use this for anything. So anyway, let's see now how we can hook up our MIDI pedal to toggle between these 3. So 1 button, 3 presets. I'm going to go over here, and I'm not going to do MIDI learn like you might expect. I'm going to go into control settings, and I know I've got a number of MIDI devices connected. The Raspberry Pi Pico is my MIDI pedal. I'm going to click on Project Profiles, Default Profile, and there's no binding selected. I'm going to click Add New Binding, and I'm going to type in widget, spelled correctly. Here we go. Trigger widget is what we're looking for. So the target is going to be these radio buttons, and then action, select item. I'm going to have it select twin and click save. Now there's no button selected here yet. It's waiting for me to do something on my MIDI device. I'm just going to tap quickly on my MIDI pedal that's sending out a CC20, and you'll see Raspberry Pi Pico CC20 on. So that's just the on setting. And I'm going to click save. So whenever I tap that, I'm going to get to my twin preset. Now here's the fun part. Let's add a new binding, and we'll type in widget again, hopefully spelling it correctly. There we go. Trigger widget, target the radio buttons, action. I'll do select the ODS Tasty Boost and save that. And for the action, I'm going to do this the long way. I'm just going to tap and release it again. So that's going to send on, and notice that there's a little exclamation point, a bang, and that is saying that it conflicts with another setting here that's already using that. So I'm going to click that trigger, and instead of on, I'm going to go down to I'll do double tap for this one. Now on double tap, under it, it says defer other actions. Make other on-off triggers. Wait to see if this one fires. I want that on. The reason is if I don't turn that on, it's going to trigger, the on's going to trigger, it's going to switch to the twin, then it's going to switch to this preset, the ODS Tasty Boost, which isn't terrible, but there's no reason for it to switch to the twin and then switch to this. So defer other actions. Now it does slightly delay the on press. And here's the important part. If you're using this for timing, things that are timing critical, like recording or starting or stopping something, this can get you in trouble, because I think the delay is like 200 or 300 milliseconds. I'm not certain on that. And I thought I saw it somewhere. I'm not sure where that setting is, but it's definitely a thing. So if you're timing critical, you got to be careful with this. Anyway, let me go back. Binding, you'll see that this now says Raspberry Pi Pico, double tap CC20, and that's going to, let me save that, and that's going to toggle the ODS Tasty Boost. So all I have to do is one more. Okay, so I'm going to click Add New Binding. Again, widget, trigger widget, target's going to be the radio buttons, and action's going to be selecting EJ. I'm going to save, and it's listening for an event, and I'm just going to tap once again on the CC20 button. I'm going to go into the trigger. I'm going to go down here to hold and click on Defer Other Actions. go back, save, and you can see now I have on is select the twin, double tap is select the Tasty Boost, and hold is select EJ, and I've got 3 actions on one button. So let's check it out, see how it works. So there's my twin. And then double tap takes me to the Tasty Boost. And then hold takes me over to the EJ. All right, so cool. Again, the reason I like using a widget is because you can manually make these changes. If you find yourself over near the iPad while you're performing, or you just want to get set up prior to a tune, you don't have to be dancing around, clicking here, tapping on buttons. But I also like having the option of using the pedals. All right, so I hope that was useful for you, and I hope you can apply this elsewhere. Again, I'm using this for my guitar presets. I tend to use 3 different tones when I play live. When I was initially putting together my first or my larger template that I'm using, my general purpose template, if you will, I was like, I don't know, I think I had 6 presets for guitar on there or something, and it was starting to get out of control. And I realized from my experience playing live with a band, you really don't need that many different tones. You need a clean edge of breakup and a higher gain tone, and maybe a boost pedal in front of all that to, kind of get up over the top of the band if you need to. So, I came to my senses and said, all right, I'm just going to pick 3 and use that. And I'm going to just dedicate one button. Now I've got an 8-button switch, so I'm always got one button dedicated to guitar tones, seeing as I'm mostly a guitar player anyway. I felt like that was a pretty decent trade-off. And I hope that was useful for you. Please do subscribe to The Gurge. I got more Loopy Pro content coming out. I know I just did a garage type video yesterday, kind of all over the place, but these are things I do out in the garage. Downstairs, I work on vehicles, and upstairs I play music. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.